Hi there guys, it's Bravo 1, Bravo Team Airsoft. I'm just doing a quick video for those of my guys for the Arclight Milsim, which should be later on this year in August. Those are my guys that are going to be a part of my team for SOG. Most of you, obviously I know you quite well, or you even give me this idea or whatever. I thought I'll do a video for those that don't know or are new to the game. So basically we're doing studies and observation group SOG. It varies in teams and uniforms and equipment, etc. I can go on for days on this. Anyone that hasn't read the book, done research online or watched documentaries might not know, so I thought I'm just going to give a rough guide on what type of kit to go for. Now this is my rough guide, doesn't have to be this exactly, this is just so that in comparison to everyone else that's doing Navy SEALs, normal units, ARVN, 173rd, whatever, this is roughly what you need to look like to be a part of the SOG team that we're doing. It's only going to be small numbers, so I'm hoping for roughly six men or more for this particular team. Not too much, obviously we're not going to have indigenous, so it's all going to be Western themed, but it's airsoft, you've got to do what you can do. So yeah, I'm just going to go over a quick brief overview what kind of kit you want to be aiming for, or something similar to this. This is my kit, so you don't need to copy this, it's not everything, it's just what I've done for my particular SOG kit. So I'm going to start off with rifles, for your primaries. Pretty easy to do really for SOG because they use nearly everything I own. I own a lot of Cold War era weapons, so you can get away with a majority of said guns for using SOG as they used everything. So this is my XM177E2 with a 40mm grenade launcher. It's been slightly customised, like the 2 or 3's been chopped down and whatnot. I've gone over this in separate videos before. This is usually my go-to gun for SOG. I prefer this, it's a GMP, brilliant bit of kit. It was also known as the commando rifle, commonly used by SOG, especially in the later wars. They preferred this over most of the other stuff. So again, weapons, you can go over with pretty much anything from AK-47s, Thompsons, M60s, you can use pretty much anything you can think of. The only thing I'd advise as far as NAM staying away from is the stoner rifle. I have a stoner rifle myself, but as far as the evidence we've reached, stoner weren't used by SOG that we know of. So that's the only thing I can say that's going to throw you off. You could probably use it, I'm sure it probably was used in a small minority, but there's no recorded evidence of SOG using stoner rifles, so preferably try and stay away from that. But if that's what you have, I suppose you can use it. Like I said, anything of that era you could probably get away with. But commonly known, Car 15 is way to go. So that's the rifle. Next thing I'm going to go over is webbing. Now this one I'm going to show you what I use. You probably can't get a hold of unless you've had it custom built or you spent a lot of money buying it. You're not going to have one of these, but I'll show you what I've got. So this is a custom made stabo harness. Things at the back, but obviously I'm not going to use it all done up because I'm not into the BDSM scene and I don't fancy my balls being crushed all weekend. So basically this is how I've gone with my stabo loadout. Mostly water bottle pouches and M56 pouches. I have a knife sheath there for what would fit a fake real steel SOG knife, which I'm going to put one of them rubber training knives in when I can find where it is. And water bottle pouches on that M56 with 2 water bottle pouches. Then I have half a dozen that are empty. Now the empty pouches are ideally for mostly dump pouches for your mags. So hence these things on the front, and then again on the other side. Now obviously I can understand a lot of you aren't going to have stabo harnesses as they're very rare, and even then if you buttoning them up to underneath they're quite uncomfortable. I do know a guy that likes to wear his around his balls all weekend and it's I can't imagine it being comfortable. But yeah, this is what I'm going with. It's the M56 pattern stabo harness, all usual pouches. It's just rigged to have air filtration if you're being pulled out of some area like Cambodia or Laos. I can't expect anyone having this. We're doing SOG because I've not seen that many, in all the Milsims I've done over the last few years, I've not really seen that many do SOG. So me as team leader of Bravo 1, we decided as a group that we'd do SOG this year, as it's something not everyone else does and it's a pretty cool theme, and we try to go with different loadouts every time we do it. So we're doing SOG this year. So I thought this is why I'll do a brief view of anyone that I don't know that's going to be joining the team, just roughly what to get to look like so we all look synchronised as a team. So I suggest using commonly M56 webbing pattern or something of that era. If you're going to use an M56 set of kit, don't use a butt pack. As far as we can tell from all the pictures, it was very, very uncommon to see them using butt packs. I can understand you need the space for food, water, ammo, but I'll go over that shortly with what I've used to alternative to a butt pack. So that's webbing. So again, try and go with an M56, use it a basic pack webbing. Have your pouches, your water bottles, but try not to put a butt pack on it, as it just sells the realism a bit more for what we know with the pictures. So that's that. Sidearm, it's not overly that important, I suppose, for SOG. I imagine everyone uses them, but it's not overly that important. But I've gone with one KWC 1911 CO2 in a black shoulder holster. Try not to use brown if you can help it, as of 66, 67 it becomes a standard operating procedure to have all the brown polished black or painted black or even made in black. So that's why it's black. We're not doing Battle at Bulge, so again try and stick to a black one if you can. So that's pistols. I've gone with a bony hat in black. I not necessarily always use hats because I don't know, I just don't tend to stick around my head, but if you're going to use hats you can get away with most. Hats didn't really make a difference, but black was a favourite, so that's why I've gone with black. Tend to go with this, which is just a homemade bandana wrapped down the head, catches all the sweat. These tend to be what I go for 9 times out of 10, so I usually wear this and the hat over it until the hat eventually comes off. Bags, as we were saying with the bags for the M56 pattern butt pack, which we're not going to use for SOG, this is a good alternative. Claymore bag. Obviously we knew they used claymores, they even modified some of these claymores to go on the webbings, depending what type of pictures you use. I use this generally for media bag. It has all the cameras and other aspects of stuff that I tend to use to try and film things. That's what I use this for, but it can be used for ammunition, water, spare mags, food, whatever you like to carry it in place of an M56 bag. And if you've got this strapped over you, it doesn't look as moronic as the M56 butt pack on your webbing. So these vary from, I got this on eBay for about 20 quid, all used things. Apparently a lot of them did use the claymores and then they kept the bags for putting said items in. So this is not just SOG, this was infantry and everybody else. So that's a good alternative to your M56 butt pack that you're not going to have on your webbing. Strap this over for your kit. Next thing, I've gone with these on the bottom gaiters. Not all SOG operators use these, but it looks pretty cool and it's pretty unique, because majority of the time I've only ever seen SOG wear these at the end of the trousers. These are World War II canvas style gaiters, US Army. I've got them and mucking them up and weathered them, and I think they have seen some limited use now and then. So that's what I've used at the bottom. Again, it's not necessarily essential, but if you want something to look a bit unique and stand out more as SOG, these are a good thing. I got these on Soldier of Fortune for about 25 quid, I think. So they're a good option. Another thing for carrying ammo, again not essential, but it's what I've gone with, is your Chicom chest rig. Usually for your AK-47s, I've put some 30 round M16 magazines in here. Again, if you're doing SOG as far as these 30 round M16 magazines, don't turn up with an AR with 20 30 round M16 magazines. These were very uncommon during the Vietnam War. They were usually bought by private purchase from like American Riflemen, several other organisations that dealt with these and made these at the time on the commercial market. So I've got 3 of these in here, and then the rest I tend to carry just short 20 round 5.56 M16 magazines. So again, my weapons vary as well. As you can see behind me, I might change to something else, but the Kar-15 is usually my go-to piece. So these will take most mags. That's what I've got in there. Not necessarily essential for your SOG loadout, but it does look cool and it was widely used. So that's that. Let's have a look. So I've got standard belt. Just use up trousers, not necessarily important because no one will really see it, but I've got a standard Vietnam era type canvas belt. And the next thing I'll go over is uniform. Now this is a bit of a subject that people have had over the years on what SOG actually use. Some people reckon they use the EDRL, tiger stripe, black kit, green kit. It varies depending on who you speak to because of what evidence we can see. Now the majority of what we know is they tend to use dyed black BDUs, like third pattern combats that they've dyed, or a mix of green kit. It varies, something that's been personally made from a Vietnamese tailor or whatever they've got, or even third pattern kit that they've sprayed and cammed up and what have you. I've used just essentially any old green kit because it doesn't really matter for SOG, because the idea is you're not supposed to look US, so I haven't gone out and bought third pattern tropical uniform and then sprayed it up or anything like that, because it doesn't really matter. There's no point in spending money when you can just get something that's knocking about some old green army uniform and then weather it up. For SOG it's not supposed to look American anyway, so this works for me. So I've just got, I think it's could even be an 80s US Army shirt, I'm not quite sure, but this is what I've done. I've sewed some pockets on the arms, as I've seen a lot of SOG doing the pictures. And then I've got basically some black spray paint and I've done lines down it just to give it that more of a SOG look, because that's what they tend to have done. Got green combats and sprayed black lines down them. I've done the same thing with the trousers. I've just got some old vintage era combat trousers in green, sprayed black lines down them. pull them together, it stands out pretty well as a bit of SOG kit. And when you've got all the AK chest rigs, webbing and straps, you can't tell anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference. So that's what I've done for green kit. So if you're going to do SOG and you want to build a kit, just grab whatever green kit. Try and make them match and try and make them look era. Don't get anything that's got loads of zips and velcro or anything like that on. Try and get some old school looking canvas green shirt and trousers, something that's, you know, looks vintage. Whether it's spray painted, mucky up, that's pretty much what I've done here. So this, again, it's not necessarily era accurate stuff. It's not even, probably not even US Army stuff, I really don't know because I don't recognise it. But it's not the third pattern stuff that was commonly used. But that's what I've done and you can't really tell. So that's a bit of advice what to do with this kit. So again, don't turn up in Tiger Stripe kit or ERDL because that's not what we're going for. We're trying to go for the typical green SOG uniform, as you know, that's what we know for certain they did use. So that's the video review about that. Boots, pretty common, you'll probably know this already. Your Panama Sol type Vietnam era jungle boot. This is what I'm using for mine. These are getting pretty old now. I could do with getting another pair because I don't know how much longer these are going to last from that Milsim and games I've done them. So these are just roughly what kind of boots you want. You could probably get away with the older style, all black ones, and maybe some others. Again, you don't necessarily always have to be Australian, American, because, you know, that was the idea, is that they look like mercenaries, a part of some other units of the government could say, not to do with us. So you could probably use Australian boots or even Vietnamese boots, it didn't really matter. We know certain teams use full extensive NVA and VC gear, so you could tend to use anything, but just for our sake, we're all trying to look matching SOG teams, so try and stick with green kit and boots. If not, these go something similar, the black ones or Australian issue type army boots. But try and stick with something that looks synchronised with the rest of us. So that's as far as boots. The last thing I'm going to go over is a backpack, which is not essential because I very rarely use these in aisoft or Milsims. But this is a Arvin rucksack, very similar to that of the VC or NVA rucksack that was commonly used. This is another thing I use. Might not have it necessarily on my loadout. It depends how long I'm out and whether I can be bothered carrying it. Because once you're carrying all the kit, it does weigh a fair bit. This has got a variety of things in it. Map cases and mags and compasses and God knows what else. But yeah, basically that's what I've used as a backpack. Again, not necessarily essential, and you could probably get away with using the Viet Cong one. I've seen that on, or the MVA one, I've seen that on eBay. I have one of them myself in one of my other kits on my VC figure. I paid about 20-30 quid for that. You can get away with that, or you can get away with most backpacks. So it doesn't really matter. It's generally easy to do SOG if you looked at your research, you looked at pictures for reference, and you know what to go for. Again, the hardest thing I think is going to be the stable harness, but it's not necessarily important. They didn't always use them. I'm just using mine because it stands out as SOG and it looks really cool. It's quite rare and unique. But that seems to be the hardest thing. Backpacks you either don't use, or if you do use them and you can't afford one of these, this one was like 70-80 quid on Soldier of Fortune. It's a real one. If you ain't got that kind of money, just get either don't go with one or buy one of the cheapo Viet Cong ones on eBay. Several others you could probably get away with it, again, as long as it looks old and vintage looking, you could probably get away with it. So yeah, basically that's everything for my Viet Cong, my SOG type era kit. Just quick referencing for any of our new guys that will be joining the team that I've not met yet or don't know that are going to be synchronised with. I just want to give a quick kit guide of what you need to be looking at. That's what the rest of us are going to be in. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.